Hello, how's it going, everybody? This is Remnant of Collinwood. I am live. Gordon, you were here early, buddy. You're still here. Um, so this episode 457. Why did I pick this episode? Well, here's the thing. This episode is narrated by Nancy Barrett. It's written by Gordon Russell. But the reason I picked this episode is because who directs it, really? This is the first Dark Shadows episode that series creator Dan Curtis directs. This is the episode. So 456 episodes. Dan doesn't direct them. This is the episode he directs. And it's a really great episodes of Dark Shadows here. We're still in the 1795 arc, if you will. And that, Lieutenant Nathan Forbes, who's played by Joel, the late great Joel Carruthers, he's heel here. I mean, he's a full-blown heel. And he's telling Naomi, hey, your son's the Collins Sport Strangler. He's also wanting to kill the younger Collins of the family. Trying to think of it's not David. I'm gonna kick myself here. Oh God, what was his name? I'm really gonna kick it. It was Millicent's brother. I know that. So you have to forgive me. And he was married to Millicent. Hi, Susie. How are you? So, again, for those who are just joining me, episode is narrated by Nancy Barrett, written by Gordon Russell, and this is the first Dark Shadows episode series creator Dan Curtis directs, which is really, really cool. And you have in this episode with Forbes, telling Naomi, which is Barnabas's mother, that her son's a Collins Sport Strangler. Keep in mind, Forbes here, who's played by Joel Carruthers, he is a full-blown heel. Now, here's the thing with this. Does Joel Carruthers, Nathan Forbes, does Lieutenant Forbes actually believe in witchcraft? By everything I've seen in 1795, I gotta say no, he doesn't. He's very much a doubting Thomas. He doesn't even really look. He knows Victoria is not a witch, but he doesn't believe in it himself. Jennifer, hi Joel, hi Jennifer, Deborah Warner, hi. How are you? I love Dark Shadows too. It's great to see everybody in here. So that's a question I have for everybody. What were your thoughts on Joel Carruthers playing Lieutenant Nathan Forbes? We finally get to see Joel Carruthers play a heel, and which is really nice. Gordon Domowski, hi Jennifer, Susie, and Deborah. I was here earlier because Joel put 9:45 a.m. rather than p.m. I did. I don't recall that. I'm pretty sure I put 10:45 p.m. I don't recall the 9:45 a.m. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Don Schmidt, Joel, he was excellent. He looks like he was having fun with the role. He does. LO, yes, Gordon. I checked this morning too. Gordon Domowski. Carruthers does a great job as Forbes, playing him as a villain without chewing scenery. Susie, hi, Dawn. Hi, everybody. Another thing while some are still contemplating Joel Carruthers playing a heel, what did you guys think here? Dan Curtis finally directs his first episode of Dark Shadows at 4:57. Jennifer, Joel Carruthers had so much range. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Remember when, now this isn't in this episode, but remember too when Suki Forbes, who's Lieutenant Forbes' wife, who poses as his sister, Gordon Domowski, the golf course must have been closed that day and Curtis was bored. Oh my God. Don Schmidt, DC was good at directing. Yeah, he was. Dan Curtis was good at directing. Here's the thing, too. Now, Dark Shadows was not the first thing he directed. That honor would go to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1967. And it was at the time that Barnabas was being cast. So, Jennifer, I think he was also a heel on Edge of the Night. I've never seen Edge of the Night. That's cool if he was. Susie, I don't know how I didn't know he directed this episode, and I was going to ask you why do you pick this episode, but now I know. Yeah, I picked this episode because this is Dan's first episode that he directs. He directs 20 episodes in all of the original series, which is cool. He does not direct 20 episodes of the revival, unfortunately. Don Schmidt, like Jason McGuire, Suki got greedy. R.I.P. Suki. I think Don Schmidt was at the funeral. Don, were you the Undertaker, buddy? You can tell me. You're amongst friends. Your secret's safe with all of us here. I guess I should always speak for myself. No. Oh my God. It was my night hobby. Yes. I thought I saw you at the cemetery that day. I mean, what? No. That's the thing too. Suki Forbes, you're right. She gets greedy. She's waiting at the old house, and Barnabas is strangling her. And that episode that happens is really weird too, because before you see Suki Forbes, Lieutenant Forbes, but this is prior to him being a heel, Gordon Domowski. The Curtis, Jekyll, and Hyde movie is on Tubi, so it's a hop, skip, and a jump from Dark Shadows. Yes, it is free on Tubi. Thank you, Gordon. Keep in mind too. Now, though, what I'm about to mention isn't in this episode, but it's a build up to this episode. There's a lot of build up to these episodes within the arc itself, where Forbes and Millicent aren't married yet. They're outside the great house. And Forbes says, I thought I saw Barnabas, outside. He goes, and when he hears a knock at the door, he just, that must be Barnabas. And no, it's Suki Forbes. It's his wife, who they say is his sister. He says is his sister, and she goes with it. And later at the old house, Suki is killed, and Forbes overhears her death, unfortunately. Now, with this episode, with this specific episode, you get the fact that Forbes knows that Barnabas is a Collinsport strangler. He does not know he's a vampire. This is another reason I have said that Forbes doesn't believe in witchcraft. He just doesn't. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Lieutenant Forbes honestly believed in witchcraft? Because, my jury's pretty much out. I don't think he did. I don't think he honestly believed in witchcraft. And I think that's something, too, if Peter Bradford would have been a better lawyer, he could have pressed on him. So you believe in witchcraft, right? Like, are you sure? I have my doubts. I'd have been pressing him so hard. Oh, really? You believe it? Okay. So if I say right now I hex you, you're going to believe that, even though I'm not a witch. But I don't think he believed in witchcraft personally, because in this episode he says something. Millicent says, "We have about the witch," and he goes, "Oh, I could handle the witch." And the way he says it, he comes again. He's also a greedy character too. You could put into that. Deb, Deborah Warner, no, he didn't. Don Schmidt, Forbes didn't believe until it was too late. Yeah, that I agree with. Susie, Forbes absolutely did not believe in witchcraft because if he did, have never he would have never have helped Vicky. Yes, Gordon Domowski. I think that if it would help him con somebody, Forbes would claim he believed in witchcraft. That I believe that if he felt it would have conned somebody, but conning doesn't mean you believe it like personally. That's the thing. Like he's not the only doubting Thomas in Dark Shadows history, but it's really interesting. Here's a guy he helps Vicky. He also, he flirts with Angelique, who we all know is the witch. I mean, Angelique's a beautiful girl, and who wouldn't flirt with her? So you have this moment where he's in the courtroom and he's testifying against Vicky, and later on he's like, "I could deal with the witch." I'm thinking, you don't believe in witchcraft, dude. You don't believe in this. So in this episode, with Lieutenant Forbes telling Millicent that her son's the Collinsport Strangler, Ben Stokes, there, David, I love him in this episode. He says that he tells Naomi a lie, in a sense, that Barnabas is alive, but he has a sleeping sickness. It's a part of the curse, that Angelique is the witch. Now, part of this is true. Angelique is the witch. Jennifer, he believes when the bow and arrow fell. There you go. There you go. I like that. I like that a lot. So in this episode, Nathan Forbes tells Naomi about her son. Then Ben Stokes is like, "No, he's lying to you," and he reassures her. He does tell her Angelique's the witch. Also, in this episode, the young Collins, who's played by David Hennessy, gets taken away from the Great House. He gets taken away from the reaches of Lieutenant Forbes, which I like. And in fact, it's Naomi who instructs this, and Ben Stokes and Riggs, do that. Ben Stokes does it. This allows Barnabas, when he gets out of the coffin, to leave the house. But here's the thing, too. There's a really great argument between Millicent, Nancy Barrett, and Lieutenant Forbes in this about her brother, about how he should be here, he shouldn't go. It's a senseless argument in a sense, because he's already gone, but Forbes doesn't know it. And then Naomi throws it in his face, and this is where Forbes just has no mercy with her. He just says, "Oh, why don't you go up to the tower room and see if your son's there at night," because he gets out of that coffin at night, and because he's a Collinsport Strangler. He doesn't realize that Barnabas is a vampire. So Barnabas gets out the coffin. He summons Millicent to where oh God, I can't think of where it's at exactly. It's where Bramwell and Catherine kept meeting in 1840 parallel time. So Barnabas summons her to there. Tell him having brain farts. Barnabas summons her there, and Naomi witnesses the shock of her life. Dark Shadows has a very, very tried and true formula, and it's this: if you don't find out any big secrets, your character's most likely to live. If you go seeking secrets and finding them out, you're most likely deader than a doornail. And Naomi, just can't help herself, because this is also Forbes's fault too. I'm not excusing him, mind you, but in every sense, Naomi wants to know the truth, and there's a price to pay for knowing it. There's going to be a price to pay for knowing it, at least. And that's the thing. When you know something, it's 9 chances out of 10 in DS history, it's going to cost you your life. What do you guys think of that with Dark Shadows? If you found out a secret, you might as well start digging your own grave. What did you all think of that? I loved it, by the way. That's my other question here. Also, check out Dan Curtis's Dracula. It's pretty good if you haven't seen it. That's another one to check out too. Dan's Dracula. But what did you guys think of that sort of unofficial rule of Dark Shadows? If you found out a secret, the character was as good as dead. Susie, that's absolutely true, but Naomi had to find out. Gordon Amowski, I love Naomi's discovery of Barnabas and Millicent, you mean, but I can disprove a secret equals dead. 2 words. Julia Hoffman. Yeah, that's true. Julia Hoffman is the exception to the rule, but also Julia knows how to play the game too. Don Schmidt, yeah, unless you're trying to save yourself, don't go looking for trouble. Oh my god. That's the thing too, like Gordon brought up Dr. Hoffman. I'll say this. Dr. Hoffman was the person who did go looking for answers, who didn't get it in the long run. Jennifer, Julia is all knowing and has 9 lives. I'm starting to believe that 9 lives thing too. Hoffman is very smart about the supernatural. Keep in mind, this is pre-Carl Kolchak on television. And I do think that Dr. Hoffman is more the inspiration for Carl Kolchak than we'll ever hope to know. Because she discovers Barnabas's coffin. She discovers Barnabas has no reflection prior to that. She goes to Barnabas and says, I can help you. She stays in her room to confront Barnabas and says, I can help you. I'm a doctor. I can give you treatments. There wasn't treatment in your time, but there's treatments now. Deborah Warner, Dr. Hoffman found out the hard way, almost got killed when she found out the truth. Yeah, that's the thing. Death, in many ways, Julia almost dies, and a lot of times, but she never actually gets killed. Our Julia, to be clear, the regular timeline, Julia Hoffman. So what you have is a character who is ready to help this creature for fame. At first, she wants her name in all the magazines and stuff, but then she does a no-no. She falls in love with her patient. And Dave Woodard, even though he doesn't realize that Barnabas is her patient, he sees it all over her face. He sees that, hey, I can tell you have feelings for Barnabas. Like, I'm not blind, Yeah, good for you. Not so good for you, Dave Woodard. It ain't gonna be good for you, Bow. That's another thing. When he went to find out, and I know it's only Peter Turgeon, right? He's expendable, but Dr. Dave Woodard gets it by Barnabas. When he finds out something. And by the way, Julia still knows stuff. she's keeping her all her secrets, and she entrusts them to an attorney or to a private investigator in Tony Peterson, and then Tony Peterson puts it in a bank. It's like, my God, if Barnabas has one slip up, people are gonna. If Julia dies, people are gonna know Barnabas' secret. So, though she's the exception to she's the official exception to the rule, and she's a big exception for sure, no doubt. I'm not going to argue that at all, and I love the fact that she is. She plays a very well played chess game with Barnabas, and that's what it is too. It's a game of one-upsmanship between Julie and Barnabas pre 1795, and then even when we come back, the chess game continues. And now here's this moment where Barnabas realizes after he's cured, he realizes Angelique's coming. He knows like this isn't good. Shit's gonna hit the fan here. And when he sees that portrait, it's like, oh, there's a line in a movie, I forget the movie, where a character says, "What am I, a shit magnet?" And I swear that's what Barnabas must be saying when he sees Angelique's portrait. It's like, really? Really? Why me? Oh my God. And that's the thing. With this episode, it's an all too reminder now because Angelique's dead, but we've seen her appear in court. We know she's around. She's not dead. She's semi dead, but she'll be back. She'll be back. What's that song? The cat came back the very next day. Oh my God. Patrick Welsh. Message retracted. Uh-oh. Jennifer, Tony is lucky he didn't get killed by association. Plus, he was stalking Carolyn and Barnabas. Yeah, that's true. Tony says he sees Barnabas kiss his cousin. He calls it a kiss. He thinks they're just making out when Barnabas bites her neck. He thinks there's some sexual activity probably going on, and that's how he chalks it up to. I mean, here's some historical context, nothing to do with the Collinses. Jesse James married his first cousin and had kids with her. So I know that has nothing to do with Dark Shadows. I just thought I'd mention that as a little slip jab to what Tony Peterson was sort of thinking here. Like, if that's your cousin, my God. And that's what he says too. He goes, I saw you kissing your cousin. You were kissing your cousin. And she's like, you didn't see what you thought you saw. It's like, no, well, which is true. Oh my God. So yeah, Tony gets away with one here. Tony he doesn't really find out anything concrete against Barnabas that proves he's a vampire, because he doesn't know that. Because he just assumes Barnabas and Carolyn have this extracurricular relationship, and you know exactly what I'm saying when I say that. We're all adults here. Well. You know, Gordon Dabowski, Barnabas Collins was an 18th century dude. Cousins were considered fair game. Yeah, this is true. In wealthy, powerful families, yeah, they were goofy about that. But what can you do? Deborah Warner, close enough. Don Schmidt, Tony needed to chill. They were distant cousins. Hordowski. That's the thing too, right? They were distant cousins. Here's the thing too, with that whole cousin thing. It's like So you really think they were making out with her because you're looking through a window. How stalkerish is Tony Peterson? I got he's a private investigator. Tony, Jennifer, Tony was awfully jealous for such a new relationship. Yeah, I like that though too because at least it gives the character some intrigue. And then Angelique comes rolling in the town. Cassandra / Angelique comes rolling in the town. Susie, this is true, but I think Tony was finally starting to succumb to Carolyn's advance. I think he was too. Who wouldn't? She's a hot blonde. Patrick Welsh. I personally don't think Julia was in love with Barnabas at the time that Dr. Woodard said that. I believe Woodard put the idea in her head. I don't know. I disagree with that. I think she was very much infatuated with him. She had feelings for him. Jennifer, he loved Carolyn from afar for years. Yeah, Carolyn. That's the thing too. Carolyn had so many suitors. I mean, Joe Haskell wanted to marry her, and Joe Haskell was Elizabeth's pick. Then you had then there's Buzz, Gordon Amowski, Tony Peterson, a trash by any other name. Yeah, there you go. That's the thing too. Susie Collins. I think everyone was enamored with Barnabas. He was so charming. Yes. Don Schmidt. Yes. Yeah. That's the thing too. Barnabas is such an attractive dude. That's something my wife said too. She's like, Barnabas is a really handsome man. A really, really handsome man. In her words, in my wife's words, and if this grosses you out, I apologize. In my wife's words, if I were a man, I would have a boner. I'm like, well, gee, dear, thanks. God. But anyway, I think that's the thing too. That's the thing too. Like Barnabas is this handsome dude, and you can tell that Julia has feelings for her patient. She's very much falling in love with him, and she has the feelings. Woodard can see it. He's calling to it. Gordon Amowski, hey, it was the 1960s. People were into guys who looked like Napoleon. Morris change, Yeah, I mean, Barnabas is a handsome dude. In this episode, by the way, my favorite scene in this episode is the fact that Naomi constantly does stand her ground to Lieutenant Nathan Forbes. And my favorite line in this movie is Ben Stokes. He says, "I thought I knew some scum in prison." He's telling Stokes this. Or sorry, he's telling Forbes this. Stokes is telling Forbes this. Jennifer, I always thought Julia and Dr. Woodard had a past, or maybe he had a crush on her, but not the other way around. Yeah, I agree. Gordon Demowski. What? Susie, I thought so too, Jennifer. Yeah. Gordon Demowski. I'm surprised Ben Stokes didn't just slap the taste out of Forbes' mouth. He wanted to. That's the thing too. In this episode, you could tell he wants to. You can tell Ben Stokes is just ready to just throw down with Forbes. Remember that scene when who is it? Matthew Morgan, who's played by Tara David, tries to strangle Burt Devlin. I swear, I thought that's what we were going to have here with Ben Stokes and Lieutenant Forbes, that Stokes was going to try to strangle him. But no, that doesn't happen. He just says, I thought I knew some scum in prison, but God. Stokes is such a great character. Thayer David brings that character to life beautifully. Probably my favorite 1795 character is Ben Stokes, I gotta say. he's very much, you can sort of see why Willie Loomis became Barnabas's conscience when you meet Ben Stokes. Gordon Domowski, I hear there's a deleted scene from this episode where Ben Stokes grabs a metal folding chair and whomps Forbes with it. Really? I heard there's a deleted scene where Ben Stokes delivers a stone cold stunner right to Lieutenant Nathan Forbes and is giving him the double finger and is asking for a beer to be tossed in his direction afterwards. I heard there's a really big deleted scene like that. I could be wrong, though. If anybody got the wrestling references just now at all, if you got the wrestling references. Oh my God, God. What's you guys' favorite scene in this episode? Jennifer, Bobby Heenan gives him an illegal object. Yes! Yes! The late Bobby the Brain Heenan. Love it. Love it. Gordon Domowski, it would be at this point where Patrick McRae would make a strange, seemingly random 1970s reference. Yes, it would. I gotta put us in a group message. When's the next time you and Patrick can do an episode, by the way? I gotta get that together. Oh my God. Here's one for you. Here's a manager. I don't know if anybody will remember her because I watched WCW as well. Remember the manager woman? She was so beautiful, and she would like distract these men. She would get up. She would just punch him, do anything to him. Gordon Domowski, favorite scene, Stokes and Forbes. Very nice. Yes. Yes. Yeah, what's you guys' favorite scene in this episode? Oh, my God. You know what? I think there's also a deleted scene where Naomi does the Roddy Piper eye poke to Lieutenant Forbes. Three Stooges style. Pokes him right in the eye. I've heard. I could be wrong. That could just be misinformation coming my way. No, but what's you guys' favorite scene from episode 457? I've given you guys mine. I just love the banter between Stokes and Forbes. I agree with Gordon. We both like that one. Another great scene though too in this episode. It is where Barnabas is coming out the coffin and Jonathan Fritz says he's going to lose his mind if he has to stay in the tower room. It's sort of a glimpse of why he's going to go mad laying in the coffin all that time. Susie, my favorite scene was when Naomi finds Barnabas biting Millicent. That scream. Yes! Yes! Don Schmidt, can't remember all the scenes. So, okay, we have a scene where Forbes is telling Naomi that her son's a Collinsport Strangler. We also have a scene that he also tells her she's seen him. He saw her attack Maud Browning, and I think it's in the same sequence. Also, there's where Ben Stokes, like he's saying, no, that's not the case. He has a sleeping. Ben Stokes tells her, Jennifer, yes, Susie. Jennifer tells her, or yeah, Jennifer, God. So, there's a scene where Ben Stokes is telling Naomi that her son has a sleeping sickness, and Susie, thanks Jennifer, has a sleeping sickness that he has to lay in the coffin It's part of Angelique's. It's part of the curse by the witch Angelique, that the witch is Angelique, which he's in a sense lying to protect her and not expose her to the full truth of it, but at least part of the truth that Angelique was the witch, because there's this in the same sequence. Naomi starts to say Victoria winters, but Ben corrects. She's like, no, it's not Victoria. It was Angelique. You also have Forbes and Millicent arguing about her brother. He should be here. He should not leave. He's already left. They do not want Millicent's brother, who has all the Millicent's fortune in his name, because Forbes can't get it unless something happens to Millicent's brother. So there's that. And you also have what Susie described as the biting scene, and there's the scream by Joan Bennett. Great scream, true horror scream. That is a straight up horror scream if you ever heard one. I think I covered it all. That's the scene. Don Schmidt, probably the biting scene. Yeah. The biting. See, I like the biting scenes too. But I get that, some don't. But I like, my favorite biting scene is when he has the teeth in and he's talking, and then he goes to bite somebody. I know there's a scene like that, but it's not in this episode. I forget which episode it's in at this time. So I'm trying to think if there's anything to cover in this specific episode. What's something, because Dan Curtis does direct 20 episodes. This is his first. This is not his last, obviously. We know he's going to direct 2 Dark Shadows movies as well. And like Gordon said, Dawn, poor Millicent, it led her to permanently insane. Yeah, permanent insanity. Susie, there were too many great close-ups on Barnabas's face. Yeah. There's that really great close-up when he's in the tower room and he's talking to himself. He's already beginning to go mad being in that tower room. It's that setup to why he goes crazy inside the coffin all those years. He went insane. Who wouldn't? You've been chained up for 100+ years. You've had no human contact of any kind. You've also had no blood, which is a necessity of yours if you're a vampire. Which, I haven't seen my wife during the day in the past week, so I'm starting to wonder. And there's that. So, oh my God, I'm going to hell. Oh my God. It never gets old. So, you can really tell that Barnabas, the blood curse is all too real. The vampire curse is all too real for Barnabas. He constantly needs to feed. Jennifer, I know Fred didn't like the dramatic biting scenes, but I think all of us did. Yeah, that's true. Jonathan didn't really care for the gnashing of the teeth and how he had to open up his mouth real wide. But you know what? He did it despite him not liking it. He did a great job. He did a fabulous job doing it. There's a scene where he has the teeth in and you could tell, and he's talking, but he's talking so well with the teeth in. And it's like, holy shit, what an amazing actor. And Jonathan was, man, he's just a hell of an actor. Great job. Yeah, we all love the teeth. We all love the vampire teeth. Bring on the teeth, unless it's at us. Here's a question. Here's a wrestling question for you guys. What's you guys? Don, episode 461 that was directed by Dan Curtis, is one of my favorite episodes. Nancy Barrett's opening narration was freaking brilliant with the shot of the frozen grandfather clock. Very, very nice. I like that. What's you guys' favorite wrestling finisher move? There you go. That's my next question. What's your favorite wrestling finishing move? I'll give you mine here in a minute. Mine's more. I got two. One's fun and one with. I loved Jake the Snake Roberts DDT. Google it. Raven did the same finisher. But one of my favorite sort of fun finishers was when the Bushwhackers, the one guy would take the other guy's head and put it right here between his arm, and he would ram the guy's head in somebody's like stomach. It was just hilarious to watch. Taylor Porter, he made the show too, and that was great. Yeah, no, Dan Patrick made the show. Or sorry, Dan Curtis. I don't know why I said Patrick. Dan Curtis made the show. Fumble my words. Dan Curtis did a really good job directing. I mean, House is going to be more evident of that. Hub Cam 210. Bob Backlund's atomic knee drop. Cool. Jennifer, I'm going to say flying forearm because Tito Santana is my all-time favorite. DDT is good along with Hogan's leg. Yes. You know who had my favorite entrance of all time? I loved Mr. Perfect's entrance and his music. He would just walk to the ring. He would throw his towel behind his back. What you got is his favorite entrance, wrestler entrance. My favorite tag team wrestler entrance is obviously Harlem Heat from WCW. Jennifer, yes, and the gun, yes. We could do a wrestling live stream just one good time. Fucking start naming moves. Oh my god. I used to be thin enough to do a standing drop kick, and I could do one, but now no. I don't know the moves, but the Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was a badass. The Stone Cold Stunner was Steve Austin's finishing maneuver. I'll help you out, Don. If you need to know wrestling moves, I'm your guy. You know how to get a hold of me on Skype, young man. Susie, the diving knee drop. Jennifer, I stopped paying attention right before the Attitude Era, though. Yeah, I watched up until the year 2000, then I was done. I don't watch. I'll occasionally peek, but I have so many of my friends call me and tell me what's going on. Like, so many people call and tell me what's going on. I'm like, what's everybody's finisher? And then I'll hear like, well, I'm like, I remember when finishers were the thing, man. Like, I remember the Rock Bottom, the Stone Cold Stunner, the Perfect Plex, which was Kurt Hennig's finisher, Ric Flair's Figure 4. I remember Dusty Rhodes' Atomic Elbow, Andre the Giant, just freaking massive. My favorite wrestler all time was the Junkyard Dog. Does anybody remember JYD other than myself? Does anybody remember that chain he would swing around? Anybody? Am I the only crazy person in this? Susie Collins, Jennifer, yes, JYD. Susie Collins, I remember. Yes, thank you. That's my all-time favorite wrestler, Junkyard Dog. I remember him coming down the ring wearing that chain, and I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, this dude looks so awesome. Never grab them cakes. Yes. Oh my God. I'll tell you who the wrestler that scared me when I first saw him was Vader. He was just this big dude who could go off the top rope. Like, holy heck. But yeah. Oh. What you got? Here's one, because I don't have any more episode questions. I'll do 2 more wrestling questions and then we'll go. And then before we do, though, I want to thank everybody for who joined here. So my 2 questions for you guys: what's your favorite entrance music? And who was your favorite manager? Obviously, my favorite manager was Bobby the Brain Heenan. He was fun on commentary too. My 3 favorite entrances one in WCW was the Great Mutas, how he would walk to the ring and he'd wear this like full outfit. Obviously, Junkyard Dog is up there, so he's number 2. He's automatic. And somebody who I just really loved coming to the ring because how he would dress, especially even early in his career in the 80s, and how he switched it up later on. Macho Man Randy Savage. I loved how Macho Man, what he would wear to the ring. Jennifer, Shawn Michaels, Boy Toy, and Heenan are my favorite. Yeah, Shawn Michaels. Oh my God. Now, do you remember the Rockers, right? He was in a tag team with Marty Jannetty called the Rockers. Then he had a singles career. I remember the Boy Toy. I remember the Heartbreak Kid, the Showstopper, the Main Event, the Icon. Jennifer, yes. Very good. I will turn everybody here into wrestling nerds overnight. Along with Dark, we'll be in the Dark Shadows Wrestling Anonymous group. That glass window, poor Marty. Yeah, the barber shop. Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I remember him. Who's y'all's favorite manager? Now, I remember Jim Cornette, but by the time I saw Cornette, like the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express, they were pretty up there. But mine's Bobby Heenan, obviously. I'm trying to think somebody who doesn't get enough credit. I still say Woman as a manager doesn't get enough credit in WCW. Sonny Ono was a fun manager to watch too. I used to watch Glow regularly, and my favorites were the Heavy Metal Sisters. Cool. Hub Camp, classy Freddie Blassie. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Or flashy Freddie Blassie. See, I know him as classy. That's why I read that wrong. My apologies. My sincerest apologies. Overall, I give this episode a fun 10. It's really, really good. And Dan Curtis directs this to perfection. He does a really good job of how it's shot. And I get they're working on a small sound. They're working in a small sound stage, but really, the narrations are all good. Gordon Russell, when he writes a soap opera episode, by God, does he write a soap opera episode? It's like, holy shit. And Dan's direction of this episode is really fun. It's really, the camera work feels creative, as always. The close-ups of Jonathan in the tower room are cool. And the way they shoot the bite sequence to set up for the scream is really, really, really great. Just awesome. First of all, before I get going, guys, I want to thank everybody who came in here. Debbie Warner, Hubcam, Jennifer, Joan Bennett is so amazing. Also, yes. Sue, May Collins, Susie, thank you. Gordon Amowski, if you're still here, thank you, my friend. Thank you, everybody who came in here. This was a blast. This was fun. It was Susie. It was a great episode. The acting by everybody was good. There were so many emotions. Yeah, there was too. You had all the actors performing their character emotions greatly, and they always did. That's the thing. Like, Dark Shadows does not get enough credit for the way the actors brought the characters' emotions to life. Really, really great job. Absolutely, 1000% agree. Jennifer, please do a call check discussion with Gordon and Patrick. You guys would be awesome. We will. We'll set something up for that one. We'll set something up for that one. Call check. I know me and Patrick did a call check episode way back ago. But yeah, we'll probably have to do one with Gordon too. I think Gordon left. I think Gordon's not here in the room anymore. But yeah, we'll definitely have to set something up. Don Schmidt, yes. Debbie Warner, thank you so much. Hopefully, I didn't say anything wrong. You didn't listen. As long as you don't tell me you committed murder on here and you don't say anything racist, I'm good. That would be great. Oh my god. So there's that. Again, I want to thank you all for everybody who joined tonight. This was a lot of fun. You guys have a great night, and thank you all so very, very much. Bye, guys and gals.